भुनक्तु सह नो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। मनमोहनाङ्गरामा मनमोहनश्यामा मनमोहनाङ्गरामा मनमोहनश्यामा प्रेम सुगुणरामा प्रेम सुगुणरामा वैदेही हृदय सदारमा मनमोहनाङ्गरामा मनमोहनश्यामा दिनकरकुलधीरा राजसेविता श्रीकरा दिनकरकुलधीरा राजसेविता श्रीकरा जनगणमन्दारा जनगणमन्दारा सज्जन हृदय विहारा मनमोहनाङ्गरामा मनमोहनश्यामा मनमोहनश्यामा श्री राम जय जय राम। श्री राम Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jaya Ram 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Atulita baladhamam hema shailabhadeham danujavana krishanum jnaninam agraganyam sakala gunanidhanam Vanaranamadhisham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Nama. Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Nama. Humble prostrations to one and all present here. So yesterday we had seen the information is given by Sampati about the whereabouts of Sita Mata. Now the challenge was who will cross over this ocean of 100 yojanas. Everyone expressed their inability. Hanumanji was also sitting quiet in a corner. It is at that time that Jambavan comes to Hanuman and said, Hanuman, you are the very embodiment of knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, discrimination, strength. Though this praise was heard by Hanumanji, nothing happened to him. But when Jambavan said, Hanuman, do you know why you are born? You are born in order to serve the Lord. And these words have a miraculous effect upon Hanumanji. He starts growing huge. Not only that, physically he was growing huge, the confidence level was as huge as a mountain. He said, Jambavan, tell me what I am supposed to do. Crossing this ocean is just a sport for me. What is it that I am supposed to do? I will go there, kill that Ravana along with his army single-handedly, uproot the entire Trikuta mountain and bring it. Jambavan said, no, Hanuman, you don't have to do all that. I know you can do it, but you don't have to do all that. There is a huge purpose. There is a cosmic plan behind all these leelas of the Lord. You have to just go there, find Sita Mata, give Bhagavan's message to Sita Mata and come back. The rest Bhagavan will do. And in the process, Bhagavan will express his noble virtues, which will be sung by Naradadi Rishis. And these noble virtues will attract the minds of common man towards Bhagavan. And this devotion unto the Lord will purify their hearts. And finally, such a purified mind, with such a mind, they will come to know this Bhagavan is not somebody outside, he is the very self in us. And thus, this Leela is mainly for the liberation of the suffering mankind. Hanumanji understands. He was very happy. And then what does Hanumanji do? Hanumanji prostrates to everyone present there and tells them, my friends, wait here. The very fact that there is so much of inspiration from within, there is a great joy. That itself is an indication that Bhagavan wants me to do this. And that itself is an indication that I will be successful. So just wait. And thus, now Hanumanji is proceeding to take a leap. So what does he do? So there is a nearby hillock. And the name of the hillock, it's not mentioned here, it's Mahendrachala mountain. Mahendrachala. So Hanumanji climbs over that hillock, remembers the Lord. Now you will always find this one aspect. Whenever Hanumanji is going to do something, he will first bow down to Bhagavan in his heart. And then he will do everything. This is a lesson for every one of us. Whatever you do, always keep Bhagavan in your heart. Then he takes a leap, standing on Mahendrachala. So it is said here, such was the power with which he kicked back the mountain, that the whole mountain went into Patala Loka. So such, what you call, exaggerations you will find throughout in Tulsi Ramayana. Many times we may think that, oh, I don't think this is possible. But then, yes, what is not possible for Bhagavan and his devotees? This is the spirit with which you must read everything. Okay? Don't use your scientific, logical mind. A devotee is far beyond reason. Fine. Now there's a beautiful statement made here. What is that beautiful statement? So now Hanumanji is flying. And that flying Hanuman, how is he compared? Jimi amogh raghupati karbana, ehi bhanti chaleo Hanumana. So when Hanumanji was flying, how was it like? Jimi amogh raghupati karbana. Like the bana of Bhagavan. Bana means what? Arrow. Like Bhagavan's arrow. And what kind of arrow is Bhagavan's arrow? Amogha bana it is. Amogha means it is impossible that this arrow will ever fail. The purpose for which Bhagavan leaves the arrow will come back only after finishing that purpose. In fact, Bhagavan's arrow would come back also. That is a unique feature about Bhagavan's arrow. It's not that it gets stuck there and no. It will do its job, come back and fall back into the quiver. So now this comparison is beautiful for Hanumanji. Because Hanumanji does his job and comes back. But more than that, there is something else also. What is that? You see, what we see is only the arrow. We never see the shooter. But everything related to the arrow, every glory of the arrow doesn't belong to the arrow, it belongs to the shooter. The arrow is chosen by the shooter. The direction is chosen by the shooter. The speed is chosen by the shooter. The target is chosen by the shooter. Everything is chosen by the shooter, but what we see is only the arrow striking the target. We never see the shooter. So in the same way, when Hanumanji was flying, he was a perfect instrument in the hands of the Lord, without any sense of doership. What is a sign of a perfect instrument? A perfect instrument, it is an instrument which doesn't decide anything. It is ever available in the hands of the doer. That is a sign of a perfect instrument. There is no will of its own. So Hanumanji was like that. No will of his own. He was completely directed by Bhagavan. What is that element which will prevent the will of the Lord to flow through us? It is our ego. To the extent we are possessed by that ego, to that extent the flow of divine will is obstructed. That is why people who are humble, humility is a great virtue in spirituality. If you see Bhagavad Gita, among the values, the first itself Bhagavan says amanitvam. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantirarjam. The first one is amanitvam. Humility, absence of egoism. So this comparison is beautiful. So Hanumanji was like the arrow shot by the Lord. A perfect instrument in the hands of the Lord. Yes. Now continuing. So now Hanumanji is flying. So now Hanumanji meets with 3 obstacles. So superficially there is a story. First we will see the story and then we will see the symbolic meaning. So what is the first obstacle? So as Hanumanji is flying, so Samudra Devata sees this. Samudra Devatas will see this Hanumanji is a Duta of Bhagavan, Sevaka of Bhagavan. So we should do something. Now it's a huge journey, long journey. He might need rest in between. So then Samudra Devata calls Mainaka Parvat. Mountain Mainaka. Where was this Mainaka Parvata? It was inside the mountain, inside the ocean. So there is a story there. So there was once upon a time, all the mountains had the ability to fly. So the problem of this mountain was they would fly and land in the wrong place. So people are there and they would land. And many people would die. So therefore they complained, all these people, they complained to Indra Devata. You see, these mountains flying is a problem. Lot of casualties are happening. They are all thick-headed ones. No brains at all, only mud. So therefore, please do something. So then it is said, Indra Devata started clipping the wings of all these mountains. And there was one mountain which escaped this clip. Who was that? This Mainaka. What did Mainaka do? It just went and hid itself inside ocean. So therefore, Mainaka Parvat was grateful for Samudra Devata for saving its wings. So naturally, Samudra Devata called Mainaka and said, see, now there is this Ramaduta who is flying, so you should do something. And now this Mainaka Parvata was a flying 7-star hotel. Okay, it had all comforts, luxuries, all, everything was there. So therefore you go and give, help Hanumanji. Now and then he will need rest. So now the Mainaka Parvat also starts flying and comes near Hanumanji and said, Hanumanji, you are most welcome to make use of all these facilities. What did Hanumanji do? Hanumanji just touched Mainaka, said, I truly appreciate your good gesture, but now there is a famous line from Sunderkand. Ram kaaju ki ne vinu mohi kahan vishram. A very famous statement from Sunderkand. Mohi kahan vishram. There is no question of taking rest till I complete Bhagavan's job, Bhagavan's work. So this was the kind of inspiration with which Hanumanji was flying. You will find that till work is completed, Hanumanji never eats anything. He never takes rest. He never sleeps. To such an extent was that inspiration. No food, no sleep, no rest. Right. So here, one small thing. Sometimes there are times when we will have to say no. All the time we cannot say yes. There are times you have to say no. But how should we say no? Let the no be a sweet no, but firm no. There are times we'll have to say no. So no need not be a bitter no. It need not be a harsh no. Many times this is what spoils a relationship. It is not the no which spoils a relationship. It is the tone in which it is spoken. The feelings with which it is spoken. That is what spoils the relationship. So this we must learn. Many times, yes, you cannot agree to everyone's demands. Right. So this is the first obstacle. Hanumanji continues to fly. Now the second obstacle. What is the second obstacle? So now these devatas were also watching Hanumanji flying. So these devatas, they were always tensed and worried. Because now Ravana was ruling, conquering. He has conquered the 3 worlds. All these devatas were thrown out of Swarga. They were miserable. So they were always anxious when this monster will be killed. And now they find that this monkey has been chosen as a messenger. So they were very doubtful. How can a monkey, he doesn't even know how serious the matter is. They were doubtful because this mission was a very difficult mission. Number 1, crossing the ocean itself was difficult. Number 2, even if you reach there, it is on the top of the mountain. Then after climbing the mountain, you have to enter. And inside, the security is very, very tight. To such an extent, later on we will find, even a mosquito cannot enter. That was the kind of security which Lanka had. They had this Chaturangini Sena. And even if you enter, you will have to search Sita Mata. Very difficult. Even if you search, there will be people around Sita Mata. You will have to break that barrier also. Again, even if you break the barrier, Sita Mata herself will not talk to anyone because she will doubt everyone. Right. And then after doing everything, you'll have to come out. So this literally appeared to be an impossible mission. An impossible surgical strike. So therefore, these devatas had their doubt. And that too, a monkey is going. So therefore they thought, he has to be tested. Whether he truly can. So then they send Surasa. Who is Surasa? She is the mother of all snakes. That's how she is introduced here. Mother of all snakes. So Surasa goes on the way. And she stands on the way. So what is the purpose of sending Surasa? To test Hanumanji's buddhi and bala. How intelligent Hanuman is, how strong Hanumanji is. So Surasa comes in front and says, "Oh, I am so fortunate today. Devatas have sent me a wonderful feast. For so many days I have not eaten. Now here is a huge monkey flying and coming into my mouth." So she sat there with an open mouth, like a crocodile. So now see the statement made by Surasa. Devatas have sent me. Devatas have sent this monkey. So Hanumanji understood, this cannot be some monstrous. It has to be a test. Why should devatas obstruct the purpose of the Lord? I am actually going to serve the devatas only. So devatas need not create any obstacle. So very fact that she is saying devatas have sent me to the right place, that itself shows that this lady has come to test me. So then Hanumanji said, "Oh mother, please allow me to go. After doing my work, after giving the message, I will come and enter into your mouth. Please have patience." She said, "Nothing doing. I am going to eat you." She was not allowing. So now Hanumanji said, "Okay then, eat me." Hanumanji became bigger. Her mouth also became bigger. And now it's going on. Mouth becomes bigger, Hanumanji becomes twice the size. Then her mouth also becomes twice the size. Hanumanji again becomes bigger. And it was going on and on and on. Hanumanji understood this is a total waste of time. You see, now this is called as buddhi. I have a very important task and I am here wasting time in front of this lady. Hanumanji became small, very small, entered into her mouth and came out. Saying that, "Amma, I had promised that I will enter into your mouth, now I have entered." So then Surasa says, "Hanuman, indeed you are an embodiment of strength and wisdom. You will definitely succeed." She blesses and goes away. Now here, a small discussion is needed. What is the greatness of Hanumanji here? You see, there are times when we have to become small. It is said, sometimes you have to lose the smaller battle in order to win the bigger battle. This is called as wisdom. Many times what happens is, you lose the bigger picture, you get stuck up in the smaller picture, especially because of our ego. We get stuck up in the small battle, and finally what happens? You win the small battle, but then you lose the bigger battle. So there are very many times where we have to stoop down in order to conquer. In every field you will find. During the what you call war also, there are times when you have to retreat in order to make an offense, to attack. There are times when you have to go back, pull back. There's a very nice statement. It says, yes, you have won the argument, but in the process you have lost the relationship. Many times you argue. Yes, you have won the argument, but what has happened as a result? Relationship is gone. Now, which is bigger? Winning the argument or maintaining the relationship? So many times what happens is we fail to see the bigger picture. We get stuck up in that smaller thing. It is especially true with people who have big egos. In their egoistic battle, the whole organization suffers, the country suffers, the team suffers, just for this petty ego. So then the greatest test was this. Surasa's test was this. Is he ready to become small? Because only an egoless person can drop the ego. An egoistic person will get stuck with the ego. So this was a test of buddhi. So then Surasa said, Hanumanji, indeed, you are wise. Any person who can drop the ego, indeed, he is great. He is able to solve all problems. Wherever egoless people are there won't be any problem. But people with big egos, oh my God, only problems are there. And a person with egoless nature, he is able to swim through all problems and reach his destination. So now Hanumanji continues. So second obstacle is over. Now comes the third obstacle. What is the third obstacle? So as Hanumanji was flying, suddenly he felt that his speed is reducing. He felt a drag. And he felt as though his height is also reducing. He is coming down. There is a crash landing which is going to happen. He felt, what is this? He looked around and nobody was seen. How is this happening? So now what was happening was, there was a Rakshasi, a demoness. She was a Chayagrahini Rakshasi. A demoness who could catch the shadow of a flying being and pull it towards itself. So her name is Simhika. So she is the one who catches this, She catches the shadow and pulls Hanumanji down. And finally she swallows Hanumanji also. What does Hanumanji do? There he doesn't say, Amma, leave me and all that. Nothing doing. He just tears her stomach, apart, stomach or heart or whatever. Comes out, kills her immediately. Thus, Simhika episode is also over. And finally, Hanuman reaches the other shore. So now we need a discussion here. So what are the three obstacles? Number 1, Mainaka. Number 2, Surasa. Number 3, Simhika. So you will find that for children there is a beautiful story. But then don't be satisfied with these stories. When such Puranas are written, there is a higher purpose. Those who are spiritual, they have to dive a little deeper. Right? Superficially you can do surfing and swimming and all that. But those who are seeking pearls, they will have to go deeper. Pearls, you will not find them floating. So what is this pearl in this? So it is nothing but the travel, the journey of a spiritual seeker. Hanumanji's journey is the journey of a spiritual seeker. And in this journey of seeking the self, every one of us, we will have to go through 3 obstacles. The first one is the Mainaka obstacle. What is that Mainaka obstacle? The obstacle at the body level. What is the obstacle at the body level? Laziness. Tamasic obstacle. There is no interest in doing anything. I feel like taking rest. That is Mainaka. So what did Mainaka say to Hanuman? Hanuman, take rest. He has not started. Before that you are asking to take. Many times this is what happens. Little we start and then suddenly we give up also. That is at the body level. Laziness. The obstacle at the tamasic level. Then the second one. What is the second one? The obstacle at the sense organ level. Body level, next is sense organ. Sense organs in our scriptures, they are called as devatas. Diva means to illumine. So all these sense organs are devatas in the sense that they illumine to us the world of objects. Shabda sparsha rupa rasagandha. The ears illumine the world of sound. The eyes illumine the world of forms and colors, etc. So they are sometimes called as devatas. So Surasa, Sura also means devata. Sura, Asura. So Surasa represents sense organs. And what is the nature of the sense organs? See, the problem with sense organs is you will have to use sense organ in order to live in this world. In order to exist in this world, survive in this world, sense organs are absolutely unavoidable. But the problem with sense organ is, the more and more you start feeding it, the more and more it tends to enslave us. This is the problem. It starts demanding more and more. That's the problem with sense organ. You give a little, sense organ will ask for a little more, little more, little more. There is some quote of Puja Gurudev also. Comfort comes as a guest, then lingers as a host. Slowly the guest becomes the host. And then finally this host will try to enslave us. You see the three stages? First, comfort comes as a guest. Then slowly remains there and becomes the host. Now you become the guest. And what is the third stage? You become a slave. This is the way the comforts function. For example, eating. Yes, eating is necessary. You can't avoid eating. But then slowly, this process of eating occupies our entire life. Now this is called as the opening of mouth of Surasa. Or mainly this eating only. So that which is supposed to be yoga can become a bhoga. So that's why Bhagavad Gita gives a warning. What is the warning? Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. As Buddha says, the middle path. Don't go to the extremes. So sense organs have to be used, but at the same time see to it that they don't take over. So that is that symbolic significance. Hanumanji becomes small. Small means what? Minimize your materialistic needs. Only then you will have enough time for spiritual needs. Right? Simple living, high thinking. So that is Surasa. Tasmattum indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshava. The control over the sense organs. Now the third one is Simhika. Who is this Simhika? Simhika is the obstacle at the mind level. And what is the greatest obstacle? You may say Kama, Krodha, etc. But this Kama, Krodha's boss. Who is the boss? Ego. And what is the nature of the ego? It is as illusory as a shadow. It is a shadow actually. It is a shadow of the Supreme Self. Ego has no existence at all. It is that illusory existence born out of wrong notion of the self. Born out of misunderstanding of the self. It is born out of ignorance of the self. So anything which is born out of ignorance has no existence. It is a wrong notion. It is like a shadow. Now this shadow has become my killer. If you see this Simhika is catching the shadow and pulling that being, isn't it? So who is the killer of that being? Its own shadow. In the same way, every moment we are suffering in this world, not life after life, birth after birth. Who is the cause? Ego is the cause. Right. See the name Simhika, Simha. What is Simha? Lion. Who is lion? The king of the forest. In the same way, who is the king of our life? Ego has become the king. You see, ruler. Who rules our life? People who have not come to spiritual path, have not come to satsang. 100% ego alone rules them. Even after coming to this path, how difficult it is to get rid of the ego. So you can just imagine the condition of people. So Simhika represents that. So what should be your attitude towards Simhika? Destroy it. Don't show any mercy. See, Hanumanji never killed Surasa. You don't have to kill Surasa. There what is needed is discipline. Minimizing the needs. You cannot kill Surasa. You need not also. You may not 100% get rid of all worldly needs. It's not possible. Worldly needs will be there. Food, shelter, clothing has to be. But yes, as far as the ego is concerned, show no mercy at all. It has to be understood as an illusory entity. It should not be allowed to rule our life. Destroy it. Destroy it means what? Understand its illusory nature. That is the point. Simhika is killed. And then what happens? You achieve success. So these are the three obstacles. Obstacle at the body level, sense organ level, and at the mind level. Alright, shall we continue? Yes, Swamiji. So, finally, Hanumanji reaches the other shore, and then he finds a huge mountain there, just to see what is, how Lanka is located, to study the whole topography of Lanka. So he chooses another mountain. All those names are not given here. That is called a Subela mountain, a little higher mountain. So he sits there and watches. What is there inside this? So then he finds, oh my God, Lanka was literally America only. See, if you see the description, it is absolutely the description of America, except one or two things. It is said here, it was so prosperous, this Lanka, so prosperous that the whole Lanka was situated on the top of the mountain. What mountain? Trikuta mountain. Even the compound walls were made of gold, studded with gems and jewels. That was a kind of Kanaka coat, Vichitra Manikrit. And then when he saw inside, the whole city was so beautifully planned. Lanes and by-lanes and houses and beautiful houses. Orchards and gardens and parks, everything. Spick and span, well-planned city. And all kind of beautiful women roaming around. Nara, Naga, Sura, Gandharva, Kanya. Varieties of, Mexican, Italian, European. That is, it's written here. Everything beautifully planned. You see, it is true. And yes, and then gymnasiums everywhere. And the wrestlers are building their muscles, fighting with each other, means exercising and this and that. So the whole point is, the whole Lankan culture was a materialistic culture. This is the point. So in materialistic culture, what happens? You give importance to the outer world, not the inner world. This is what we find between the Eastern culture and the Western culture. In Western culture, the entire focus is upon the outer world. According to them, definition is, it is the outer world which gives us happiness. And so therefore what happens? They beautify the outer world. That is the Western culture. Create a conducive environment, and that is the source of happiness. And naturally, wherever you pay attention to, that will improve. If you pay attention to the outer world will improve. If you pay attention to the inner world, your inner world will improve. How is our country, like India, etc., Eastern culture different? They paid more attention to the inner world. They did not pay much attention to the outer world. And therefore you will find that in such countries, the outer world is always a mess. They never paid much attention. Wild growth. All trees everywhere. But as far as the inner growth is concerned, they were spiritual giants. The question is, where is your attention? Is your attention outward? Fine, the outer world is beautiful. But if your attention is inward, then your inner world will be beautiful. Means what? you become an embodiment of all virtues, devotion, etc. So the description is absolutely right. So that culture, the Lankan culture under the rule of Ravana, was it spiritual culture or a materialistic culture? It was a materialistic culture. And you will always find that in materialistic nations, where the focus is only upon materialism, you will find that the world will be beautiful, but everyone will be having mental problems. More mental problems. Because they never paid attention to the inner world of thoughts. A lot of psychological problems you will find there. As Puja Gurudev used to say, people will be comfortably miserable. All comfort, they will be miserable. That is the unique feature about materialistic culture. So that is what is described here. You see, in the entire description, you will find that there are no temples, etc. Lanes, by-lanes, orchards, gardens, this, that. No mention about temple. Whereas if you go to India and all, you will find that every corner there is a temple. Even if you go to a village, a small shed and one Shivalinga or something will be there. And somebody would have lit some diya. Amazing country is India. Amazing country. The names of the places also is related to Rampur, Krishna, something like that will be there. People name also will be related to Bhagavan only. See, this is called as spiritual culture. So then Hanumanji was wonderstruck seeing the perfection of the city. How beautifully the whole city is, designed, planned. Then he understood that this is not the time to enter Lanka. So let me wait for the evening. Let me wait for the darkness to set in. And then when the darkness set in, he took the size of a mosquito. Not the form of a mosquito. Size, monkey form, mosquito size. And then, remembering the Lord, Masaka samana rupa kapidhari, Lanka hi chaleu sumiri narahari. You will always find this. Whenever Hanumanji is going to do something, sumiri, smaran. What did he remember? Narahari. Who is Narahari? Narasimha Bhagavan. So remembering the Lord, he enters. And what happens when he enters? That very same moment he is, he's caught. So, see the efficiency of that immigration officer. Even a mosquito could not enter. You see, who is the immigration officer? Security officer is Lankini. Lankini said, "Hey, thief! Stop! You thought that, you can escape?" So she was the presiding deity of Lanka, actually. Presiding deity. She stopped. And then what did Hanumanji do? Hanumanji gave a solid blow to her. And with that blow, she falls down unconscious, vomiting blood. After some time she gets up. And immediately she bows down to Hanumanji. And says, "Oh Hanumanji, thank you for this wonderful satsang." Satsang means what? Association with the wise. Here is this lady beaten up and she is saying, "Hanumanji, thank you very much." So naturally Hanumanji was amused. Then she tells the story. "Oh Hanumanji, when this Ravana was blessed by Brahmaji, that you will not be killed by, you will be killed only by either monkeys or human beings. At that time I was there. So then I went to Brahmaji and asked, 'Oh Lord, tell me when this monster is going to, end when is the time going to end? At that time, Brahmaji had told me, when you are doing your duty efficiently, a time will come when you will be beaten up by a monkey. Understand, that is a signal that Ravana's time is going to come to an end. So then, Hanumanji was waiting for this day. A time when a monkey will overpower you, understand, that is the end of Ravana. So then, she expressed her great joy of meeting a devotee of the Lord. And then she blesses Hanumanji. Now there is a beautiful line which says, प्रबिसी नगर कीजे सब काजा हृदय राखी कोसलपुर राजा गरल सुधारी पुकरहि मिताई गोपद सिंधु अनल शीतलाई गरुड़ सुमेरु रेणु समताहि राम कृपा करि चितवा जाहि. So she blesses Hanumanji and said, "Oh Hanumanji, remember the Lord, keep Bhagavan in your heart and enter Lanka. Because by the blessings of the Lord, what will happen? Everything that you considered as an obstacle will become an opportunity, will become a blessing. Obstacle will become a blessing in disguise. This is what Bhagavan's grace does." So some examples are given. For example, Garala Sudha, poison becomes nectar to the person who has the grace and blessings of the Lord. Poison becomes nectar, number one. Ripu Karahi Mitai, enemies become friends. Gopad Sindhu, the entire ocean becomes a Gopada. Go means cow, Pada means foot. Means what? The puddle of water formed by the hoofs of the cows. So for a person who has grace and blessings of the Lord, the entire ocean becomes a puddle of water. Anala Sitalai, fire becomes cooling. And Sumeru Renu, even the huge Sumeru mountain becomes like a dust particle. So how many? 5. Garala Sudha, enemy and friend, Gopada Sindhu, Anala Sitalai, and Sumeru Renu. Now, in the life of Hanumanji, you will find all these 5 have come true. So the first one, poison becoming nectar. What is that example? Surasa. Who is Surasa? Mother of snakes. You see, you have to be very alert. So that Surasa blessed Hanumanji. So what has happened? Poison has become into nectar. Second one, enemy becoming friend. So many examples you'll find. Vibhishana, and these, of course, Lankini also. Next, Gopada Sindhu. That anyway, Hanumanji is crossing over the ocean. Anala Sitalai, fire becomes cooling. When was it? When Hanumanji burns the entire Lanka. He never felt any burning sensation. So fire becomes cooling. And then Sumeru Renu, mountain becoming a dust particle. What is that episode? Sanjeevani episode. So all these 5 happened in the case of Hanumanji. So Hanumanji, remember the Lord, gain His blessings, grace and blessings, and then do your job. So thus, Hanumanji enters into Lanka. And now Hanumanji is searching for Sita Mata. Everywhere he searches. Everywhere he searches. But no result. So then what you should do? Remember the Lord. You will always find it. It is just not the case of Hanumanji. It is our story also. Whenever we are stuck somewhere, not knowing what to do in life, completely confused, what decisions to make, that is a time when you have to just surrender unto Bhagavan. And then what will happen? Something will happen. It is impossible that something will not happen. Something has to happen. To the extent you are sincere in your prayers, to that extent the happening will be fast. And to that extent the clarity from within will be intense. Clearly you will know, this is what I have to do. Right? Something will happen. So then Hanumanji was searching. He searched even Ravana's palace also. Inside his room also he goes. He doesn't find anyone. So that's the time, no? Everyone's life such moments come. No, he can't ask anyone also because he is a spy. So Bhagavan, save me. And then suddenly something happens. What happens? His attention goes to one beautiful palace. And what is a unique feature about this palace? This palace was literally like a temple. With all the markings of Bhagavan, all the auspicious markings of Bhagavan. So Bhagavan's bow and arrow was marked. And also in front of this palace there was a beautiful tulasi plant growing. These are all the auspicious signs, tulasi. Now Hanumanji was confused. My God, in this land, materialistic culture, where is the main thing? Where everybody is an atheist. How come there is a temple-like structure? Is it that these Danavas, because they are all Mayavis, they can take any form? So how to trust this? Maybe somebody is following me and trying to fool me. He was not ready to accept it. Bhagavan, save me. Then what happened? Again something happens. What happens? Man mahu tark karein kapilaga, tehi samaya Vibhishana jaga. Ram Ram tehi sumiran kinha, hridaya harsh kapi sajjan chinha. So when he was confused, what to do? It was at that time, maybe that was a Brahma Muhurta. Because remember, Hanumanji entered when it became dark. So the whole night he was searching. And it was almost Brahma Muhurta now. So that is the time when Vibhishana got up. And what did he first say? So this palace was the palace of Vibhishana. And what did Vibhishana say as he got up? Ram, Ram. He got up chanting the name of the Lord. And when Hanumanji heard this, he knew for sure this is indeed a great devotee of God. Two reasons. Number one, getting up at Brahma Muhurta. We generally sleep during Brahma Muhurta. You see the youngsters. After 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you can't sleep. You can't remain awake. You see the new generation. Generally, they go to sleep at 3 o'clock. Brahma Muhurta, Nishacharas cannot remain awake. Sajjan, they get up during Brahma Muhurta. They cannot sleep. You see the difference? People with asuric tendencies, extroverted tendencies, rajasic, tamasic tendencies, they cannot remain awake during Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta means what? Sattvic time it is. And the people who are sattvic, they cannot sleep during Brahma. They automatically get up. Body is designed that way. And Vibhishana got up. Number one. Number two, What came out of him? What is the first thing which he remembered? Ram, Ram, Bhagavan's name. So what does it mean? Even when he went to sleep, he was remembering Bhagavan. Because there is a connection. With what thought you sleep, with the same thought you get up. If you are thinking of God, then you get up thinking of God. That's how the mind is designed. So that's why we should tell our children, don't sleep watching ghost movies. Number one, the sleep will be terrible. What kind of dreams you will see? Ghost dreams, isn't it? The sleep will be messy. And if your sleep is messy, your waking also will be messy. Freshness will not be there. Sleep also, there are three types. Tamasic sleep, Rajasic sleep and Sattvic sleep. Sattvic sleep, you are fresh. You wake up fresh because your sleep has been very deep. Deep, refreshing sleep is called Sattvic sleep. What is Rajasic sleep? Sleep with lot of dreams. Disturbing dreams. So there, actually speaking, the mind is active. And because the mind is active, there is no complete rest. And what is tamasic sleep? It is the worst. In tamasic sleep, the more you sleep, the more you feel like sleeping more. You don't want to get up from bed. That's the worst. Tamasic sleep. How to come out of this Rajasic sleep and Tamasic sleep? The only way is make the mind Sattvic. How to make the mind Sattvic? Prayer, meditation, study of the scripture, satsang, that is the way. Give Sattvic samskaras to the mind, then the mind will behave in a Sattvic way. And when the mind behaves in a Sattvic way, the sleep also becomes Sattvic. Right. So, Vibhishana got up, chanting the name of the Lord. And then Hanumanji said, this is definitely a great devotee of the Lord. I must introduce myself to him and reveal all my plans. Because there is no harm at all in revealing all my secret plans in front of a great devotee. So then Hanumanji takes the form of a Brahmana, a holy person, goes to his house, maybe knocks the door. Ram, Ram, he must have chanted, Jai Shri Ram. So Vibhishana came, he opened the door, he looked at this Brahmana form. Now there's a beautiful line here. So when Vibhishana saw Hanumanji, remember what is he seeing? Not the monkey form, a Brahmana form. Ki tum haridasan mah koi more hridaya priti ati hoi ki tum ramo deen anuragi ayahu mohi karan bada bhagi. Vibhishana is inquiring, O Holy One, who are you? May I know who you are? Because I am interested in knowing who you are, because in your presence, my heart is getting filled with devotion for God. That itself shows that you are not an ordinary human being. The very fact that my heart is getting filled with devotion shows that either you are Bhagavan himself who has come to bless me, or you are some great devotee of the Lord. So Hanumanji could not, hide his true nature in front of Vibhishana. Now this is a great psychology. What is a psychology? What kind of personality are we? How to know what kind of personality are we? Look at what happens to people around us. If we are a disturbing personality, so what will we be giving freely? Free distribution of disturbance. So in my presence, people try to run away. People try to give excuses. Sir, I'm a little busy. I'm really sorry. I could not spend time. Run away. Why? This man, if he opens his mouth, within 5-10 minutes, I'm so disturbed. It's a fact. If I am carrying disturbance within, I will be freely distributing this disturbance everywhere. But if I am peaceful, whoever comes in my presence, they will experience peace. So to find out who I am, just look into this world, people who come in contact with me, how they respond. The world is a mirror actually. It is just showing my own face. If people are dishonest, lying to me and all that, there is some problem with me also. If people are not straightforward, to me, there is some problem with me. Generally we say, this person is a problem. No. Great psychology. So Vibhishana says, Oh Holy One, who are you? Because my mind is getting filled with devotion. So then, what did Hanumanji say? No, Hanumanji is introducing. How is his introduction? He doesn't say, I am Hanuman. No. Hanumanji starts describing the glory of the Lord. Tab Hanumant kahi sab Ram katha nijana. After glorifying the Lord, telling his story, after glorifying Bhagavan, finally he said, I am the servant of that Bhagavan. Then he introduces. And now when Hanumanji was describing the glory of Bhagavan, what happened to both of them? Sunat jugalatana pulakamana magana sumiri gunagram. As Hanumanji was glorifying Bhagavan, what happened? Both of them had extreme emotion of devotion surging in their hearts. As a result of which, there was this horripilation, hair standing on end, the voice getting choked, eyes filled with tears. These are all the expressions of devotion, you see. Both of them. So when two devotees come together, what will be the topic of discussion? Yes, the topic will be God, devotees of God and devotion. Just like when two cricket lovers, the talk will be about cricket. Two politics lovers, isn't it? We will talk what our vasanas are. So in the same way, here two devotees have come together. So what will be the topic of discussion? Macchitta madgata pranaha bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. This is not from Tulsi Ramayana, okay? Don't search in the book. It is in Bhagavad Gita. Macchittaha madgata pranaha. So when two devotees come together, Macchittaha, they both of them, their minds are in Bhagavan. Madgata pranaha, their entire prana is in me. Bodhayanta parasparam, both of them are glorifying Bhagavan. Kathayantascha mam nityam. So sometimes this person talks and the other person enjoys. Then the other person talks. You see, that's how this Sanakadi Rishis used to spend time. The four, always remaining in the form of a child of 5 years. So these four brothers, Sanakadi Rishis. So one fellow will do satsang, others will listen. Then the next fellow will do satsang, others will. This is how they would spend their time. So kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti ramanti. They revel in this. They are totally content in this. So this is what happens when devotees get together. So in the same way, both of them, they spend time together like this, completely fulfilled, bathing in the bliss of devotion. And when all that emotion came down, then they started talking about worldly matters. What is a worldly matter? So Vibhishana said, Hanuman, do you know how I stay in this Lanka? Sunahu pavanasut rahni hamari, jimi dasanahi mahu jibha bichari. Just like the tongue is staying inside the mouth, surrounded by the teeth, that is the way I am staying in Lanka. So who is Vibhishana? Tongue. Who are these Rakshasas? Teeth. Now this comparison is beautiful. You see, whenever the tongue gets bitten, what can the tongue do? It can't do anything. It has to just go through the pain, that's all. Tongue is absolutely helpless. But now there is another thing also. See, when Socrates was on his deathbed, he was lying down. So all the Shishyas, disciples, gathered around. Said, "Oh Guru, what is your parting advice?" Socrates was poisoned. So he was going to die. The Shishyas gathered. What is your parting advice to us? So he said, Socrates just stuck out his tongue. Just took out his tongue. This is my advice. Nobody understood. What kind of message is this? And he said, be like a tongue, not like the teeth. When you are born, tongue is there. No tooth is there. And when you die, tongue will remain. This is the message. The final victory is always for the tongue. It was there, is there, and will be there. So in the same way, what is the point? The message is ever remain humble, simple, soft, tender, unassuming. This is the way to live life. If you live this way, everything will be fine with you. All those so-called stubborn people, strong people, rough and tough people, they will all go. So this was the parting message. So see, there is another aspect to this example also. So Guruji, while explaining this, he said, see, there is a way in which tongue can take revenge against the teeth. Go in front of a rough fellow, start giving abuses. Then what will happen? Tongue can do that. And in a, lighter way, we can say, those people who have not understood Ramayana, they will say that Vibhishana also did the same thing. He went to Bhagavan Ramchandraji and knocked off all the teeth. Isn't it? Vibhishana was the person who gave all the secrets regarding Indrajit and Ravana, how they can be killed. The entire demon race was destroyed because of Vibhishana only. Anyway, that portion will come later. So the point is this, Hanumanji, I am staying in this Lanka like the tongue staying amidst the teeth. Now Hanumanji, there's a beautiful portion which comes which says, Hanumanji, is it ever possible that Bhagwan's grace can fall upon me? When I look at myself, I find that I don't deserve the grace of the Lord. See the nature of a devotee. Tamas tanu kachu sadhana nahi, priti na pad saroja man mahi. Hanuman, tamas tanu. When I look at myself, what is this body? A Rakshasa body, tamasic body. Kachu sadhananai. With this tamasic body, no sadhana is possible, no spiritual practice is possible. Priti na pad saroja manamahi. And I don't have any devotion at the lotus feet of God. Being a Rakshasa, I have no devotion at all. This is me. Now here we have to spend some time. Vibhishana is telling this. When I look at myself, I find that I am a demon without any qualification. Now, many times we find that saintly people make these statements. I think Surasa made this statement that I am such a big sinner that even if I go to hell, hell will run away from me. Such statements you will find all these Mahatmas making. Now, is it that they are telling a lie? Because they themselves are so great. If they are like this, then what to talk of us? There is no hope at all then. So, see, this psychology has to be understood. A saintly person is a person who is constantly busy trying to improve oneself. Such a person is called a saintly person, holy person. Because this holy person has a right understanding that all my suffering is because of myself. It's not because of the world. So, worldly person and a spiritual person. What is the difference? Worldly person says all my problem is because of the world. And therefore keep on transforming the world, improving the world. This is the nature of a worldly person. I am a perfect man, world is a problem. What about a spiritual person? In the same situation, spiritual person says, no, I am the problem. World is just reflecting my own problem to me. Problem is here. So therefore a spiritual person is a person who is constantly trying to improve himself. Now, a person who is constantly trying to improve himself, where will his attention be? Upon his virtues or upon his vices? Upon his vices. A spiritual person is a person who is constantly paying attention to one's own vices, negative traits. And now the psychology is, whatever you pay attention to, that you will see. So, this holy man, he has 90% virtues, he is not paying attention. He has only 10% vices, he is paying total attention there. So what will he find himself? He will tend to believe that I am a vicious person. Because his attention is not upon that 90%, or say 99%. Even that 1%, if your attention is totally there, you will think that you are that. This is the way we have to understand. What about the worldly person? Worldly person is ruled by his ego. And what is the nature of the ego? It finds blissful only when the ego is pampered. And what is the easiest way to pamper the ego? Find fault with others. Because when I find fault with others, indirectly, silently, I have given the message that I am a better person. Yes or no? This person is not good. Means what? I am good. And that I am good gives a better feeling for me. A worldly person's joy is always the egoistic joys. And the ego is always busy trying to find fault with others and trying to see the perfection in oneself. So therefore the egoistic person always feels that I am always right. I am perfect. There is no defect in me. All the defects are with others. See the difference. So a saintly person, you remember that story of Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira said, I am the worst person in the whole city. Whereas Duryodhana said, I am the best person. See, it all depends on what are you paying attention to. It's a psychology basically. So then, a holy person naturally will pay attention to the defects, and this is what he will find. And because he is always paying attention to that negativity, he will always remain humble also. He will always remain humble. So now, Vibhishana says, Hanuman, looking at me, I don't think I deserve grace of Bhagavan. Because by all means I am inauspicious, vicious. But at the same time, when I look at the world, I am seeing that Bhagavan's grace is continuously being showered upon me. A very famous line here. Abu mohi bha bharosa Hanumanta, binu hari krupa milahi nahi santa. A very famous line of Sunderkand. Binu hari krupa milahi nahi santa. Without grace of Bhagavan, you will never get an opportunity to associate with a saintly person. Milahi nahi santa. The very fact that we are getting satsang, we are getting an opportunity to meet saintly people, shows that Bhagavan's grace is with us. So, Vibhishana's question is this: when I look at myself, I don't deserve any grace, but when I look at what is happening to me, I feel that Bhagavan's grace is there continuously upon me. The very fact that I did not come to you, you forcefully introduce yourself to me. You see, that itself shows that Bhagavan's grace is there. Oh Hanuman, will you please clarify? So then Hanuman says, Sunahu Vibhishana Prabhu ke riti, karahi sada sevak par priti. Vibhishana, the nature of Bhagavan is this. He loves his devotees. He doesn't pay attention to the defects of the devotees. No, have you turned to him? That's all. Bhagavan is yours. The question is not how much defects we have. The question is, have we turned to him? That's all what Bhagavan sees. And then Hanumanji says, look at me. You are saying that you are a Rakshasa, this, that. Look at me. I am a monkey. Kahahu kavan mein parama kulina. You are talking as though I am a very, born in a very good family. High family. Paramakulin family. Kapi. Chanchal. Sabhi vidhi hina. A monkey who is fickle, the most inauspicious. And it is said here, anyone who takes the name of the monkey, that day he will not get food also. To such an extent inauspicious this being is. Monkey. But that Bhagavan has showered so much of grace upon me. And as Hanumanji spoke these words, his voice becomes choked with emotion. Eyes become filled with tears. And then Hanumanji says, such is the nature of Bhagavan. He accepts everyone. He doesn't see who you are. His love for you is unconditional. Such a Bhagavan is ever there in our heart. And what is the biggest mistake we are doing? Ignoring him. Janata hu asa Swami bisari, firahi te kahe na hohi dukhari. Such a Bhagavan who has infinite love for us, unconditional love for us, who is ever with us, ever paying attention to us, ever loving us. Such a Bhagavan is in our heart, ever ready to help us. But if suppose we ignore him, how can such a person ever be happy in life? How can such a person be free from suffering? Why not such a person will come back again and again to this world and wander in the miseries of the world? So this is the biggest mistake we are making. What is the biggest mistake? Ignoring the Lord. In the language of knowledge, we say self-ignorance. Ignoring is called ignorance. Ignoring means what? It is there, but I am ignoring it. It is my choice. It is my conscious decision to ignore. So I am suffering not because Bhagavan is not present, I am suffering because Bhagavan is ignored. So whose mistake is it? See, if Bhagavan is absent, it is a mistake of Bhagavan. Bhagavan, you are not present. You can complain. Here the problem is not Bhagavan's presence. Here the problem is ignoring Bhagavan. So whose mistake is it? Our mistake. A person who ignores such a Bhagavan, who is ever ready to help us, who ever loves us, when we ignore him, that becomes the greatest sin of this world. So what is our greatest responsibility? What is the wisest decision to take? Ever remember him. Never forget him. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. At all time remember me. Never forget me. This is our greatest responsibility. This is our greatest duty. Everything else secondary. This relationship, primary, most important. Never neglect it. If you neglect, the price we have to pay is suffering. Then don't blame God. And this way they spend their time talking about God, glorifying about God. Both of them were in infinite bliss. And then Hanumanji asked, "Oh Vibhishana, now I want guidance from you. I have come here for a purpose. Can you guide me to where Sita Mata is?" Vibhishana, "Yes, definitely. I know. I will tell you. Tomorrow I will tell you." So, let us chant Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nij Mana Mukur Sudhari Bharnau Raghubara Bimala Jasu Jodayak Phalachari Buddhihina Tanu Janike Sumirau Pavana Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kalesha Vikar Jai Hanuman Gyan Guna Sagar Jai Kapi Satihu Loka Ujag Ramadota Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Mahabir Bikrama Bajrangi Kanchana Varana Biraj Subesa Kanan Kundala Kunchita Kesa Hatha Vajra Aur Dhwaja Biraje Kandhe Munj Janeyu Saje Sankara Suvana Kesari Nandana Tej Pratap Mahajagaband Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatur Ram Kaj Karibe Ko Prabhu Charitra Sunibe Ko Rasiya Ram Lakhana Sita Man Basiya Sukshma Rupa Dhari Siyahi Dikhava Vikata Rupa Dhari Lanka Jarava Bhima Rupa Dhari Asura Samhare Ramchandra ke kaaj samare laye sajeevan Shri Raghubir harshi urlaye Raghupati kinhi bahut badai Tum mama priya bharat hi samabhai Sahas badan tumharo jas gaave As kahi Shripati kanth lagave Sanakadika Brahmadi Munisa Narada Sarada Sahita Ahisa Jama Kubera Digapal Jahante Kabhi ko bid kahi sake kahante Tuma upakar sugrivahi kinha राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हरे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हरे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय। और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोय, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होय। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। सदा हरि चेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूरति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः। सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय। मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।